It's always tough to do a Phillies review the same day as a Sixers postseason game, especially with that much energy involved. But listen, the Phillies, they went out to Colorado. And before this series started, I said, honestly, it's a 4-game set. I would be okay with a 2-2 split just because you're going on the road. The Rockies, their record, it doesn't scream anything good, but they're a better team than that, and I think they're just showing that type of fight right now, and they're getting some structure. I would take a 2-2 split going off to Colorado, and we fall in game 1. Now, let me get this straight. Of course, I would love a series sweep and a 3-1 record there in a 4-game set, but I'm just being realistic. I would be okay with it, understanding we're going on the road. We fall game 1. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty, but the storyline was Freeland. He was actually amazing today. We lose 6-2, but their pitching was so dominant, it gave the Phillies such a hard time. We couldn't really get much going offensively. We had 5 total hits. Cesar had 3. Eflin had 1, and JT's bomb was the only thing other than that. So we weren't able to get enough hits going. Freeland, 6 innings, and 7 strikeouts. He was great. He had the nasty stuff today. The fastball was electric. The off speed was there, and we were struggling completely. When you take a look at Andrew McCutchen, Bryce Harper, Scotty, Rhys Hoskins, Franco, Roman Quinn, they all don't get any hits. You're really not going to get anything going. So in the beginning of this game, it looked like a defensive battle. JT Realmuto throws a really nice ball to second base for catching someone stealing. Scott Kingery with a beautiful play at shortstop to save a run by getting someone out at third base. Arenado had a beautiful sick play over at third. The Phillies had some double plays involved. It just looked like a defensive battle. But in the 6th inning, Scott Kingery makes an error. He's charging at the ball. He doesn't really set his feet, and an error throw to first base which allows a guy on. Story gets a single up the middle, and then McMahon rocks one out of the ballpark to take a 3-0 lead, and it came from our first mistake. We made an error, and they cashed in on it. But the Phillies respond too, because Rhys gets drilled with the pitch. He takes first base. JT Realmuto hits a bomb and takes advantage of their mistake, allowing Rhys Hoskins to get on base. So it's just a shame that their mistake that they made, it only hurt them for 2 runs. Our mistake, it costed us 3, so we're down 3-2. Our bullpen comes in, and they weren't great. Alvarez stinks. He's garbage. He's absolutely garbage. And who came in after him? Arano, he struggled as well. And Eflin started, and he wasn't bad. Eflin was not bad today on the mound. He grinded. He definitely grinded more than, say, Freeland did. I think because he went up against someone who had a stronger performance, maybe Eflin doesn't look as good as he was, but I thought he had a pretty decent outing. He did go 6 innings. He allowed 7 hits. The 2 earned runs came from the home run, and he had 2 strikeouts. I wouldn't say it was a bad performance. I wouldn't say this is on Zach Eflin. He didn't get enough offensive support, so I can't really crush him. I thought Zach Eflin did enough today. Without a doubt, he did enough to win the baseball game. We didn't provide enough offensively, and that was the difference. Even Gabe Kapler after the game, he kept harping on it. This was the problem. Freeland was great. Freeland was amazing. Freeland was awesome. He was the difference maker. He was the reason why the Rockies won. And he just kept giving him praise and saying that Freeland was that much of a dog today. So, I mean, listen, we had a chance when it was 6-2. McMahon ended up hitting another bomb when our bullpen came in. He had 5 RBIs. He was something else at the plate today. So when it's 6-2 in the 8th inning, Rhys Hoskins with 2 men on, full count, couldn't get anything across the board there. And not that would have made us win the baseball game. Not that even a 3-run bomb would have tied the ball game. But it would have at least made it interesting, and we were not able to successfully get it done there. And listen, just one of those games. Not going to win every single baseball game. And it got a little ugly offensively, only getting 5 hits. It wasn't there today, and you got to give credit to their pitching. So we move on to tomorrow night where we have Vin Velasquez, and there's some pressure on him. He had some decent outings so far, but there's some pressure on him to outduel one of their good guys, and we need to win a baseball game. Right now we're 500 on the road, and it's tough to win on the road. Absolutely, you need to keep that in mind. But We need to go out there and win a baseball game, and we need Vin Velasquez to get out there. We also need our bats to wake up a little bit. It's funny because we had Bryce Harper, Rhys Hoskins, McCutcheon, all these guys. They were getting hot. They were doing their thing, and JT Realmuto was cold as ice, and he couldn't get anything going. JT, as of late, in the last however many games or so, handful of games, he's been elite. He's been tearing it up, but Rhys Hoskins went cold, and Bryce Harper's been cold for a really decent amount of time now, and, it's not going to hold on forever. There's going to be a time where they wake up, and things are going to get rolling. It's baseball. You're going to get through a lot of ups and downs, and right now we're in a little bit of a down spot with some of our guys like Rhys and Bryce, and you just got to keep going, keep grinding, keep attacking, and eventually one of these games, it'll just stop. Look at Cesar Hernandez. He was really brutal, and now he's hitting home runs. He had a couple of those. He had a 3-hit night tonight where no one else could get anything going. It really just, it takes playing baseball to snap out of it. It takes one game to get maybe 2 hits, and that'll really spark everything going. So we just need to figure it out. And with Coors Field and knowing how much the ball flies with this lineup, and maybe it just takes one game in this 4-game set to see the ball really produce for some of these guys to get them going. So that's where it was tonight. I'm not going to sit here and cry about it. One, because the Sixers were so awesome tonight. And two, we lose a baseball game. It's fine. We lost this. We win a series against the Mets, and you come into Colorado, a team that's really on the edge here and has their back against the wall kind of early in the season, and they came out and they handled business. It was a battle going into this thing. It was a battle throughout until about the 6th inning, and it broke open, and the Rockies got the job done. It is what it is. So keep an eye out on this lineup, and keep an eye out on if they can get out of this slump, because right now it's a little tough. It's a little weak at times, and we need to see some of these guys start stepping up and producing. I'm curious, keeping my eyes also on Gene Segura. What's the situation with him? Roman Quinn gets in the lineup today because of Odubel, both of those with the hamstring injury, so I'm just interested to see how that gets how that gets situated, and other than that, that's really where we are at with the Phillies. And I mean, I want to know your thoughts on it. What did you think about this game? How many of you were invested? See, I'm the double TV guy. Sometimes I'll hook my laptop up to my second TV. Sometimes I'll just keep my laptop actually on my knees while I watch the Sixers, or a little bit off to the side. But this game was a little boring, so it wasn't that, it wasn't that hard to kind of keep it off to the side while watching the Sixers game. I'm just curious, did you fully invest in this Phillies game along with the Sixers? Do you do what I do? Do you have to do double, or do you say, I'll flip back and forth on commercial, check the score? I'm curious to see how invested you are with this Phillies team. But listen, we're fine, all right? We're fine. We lose a baseball game. I'm not going to name names, but I literally have the same guy tweet at me every single game we lose. Say, I can't stand this offense. We stink. We can't get going. Dude, we're 11-7 through 18 games, all right? We're not in the worst situation. Look where we are with the NL East. The Braves drop another game. They're losing to the Diamondbacks now a couple days in a row. The Nats, all right, they're beating up on the San Francisco Giants, but are they really where we are right now? We have a little bit of some comfort, and we lose a baseball game. We're going to lose about 70 of them. So it's going to happen. Let's see how we respond. I'm curious to see Vinny V. He's actually done pretty damn well. I felt more confident about him going on the bump than I did Nick Pivetta, and that's telling you something. Vinny V's been doing okay. Let's see if he can bring it. Let's see how he can do it. We just need contribution from our offense, too. And it just takes one snap to get back into this thing for the positive ride offensively. But yeah, I will be honest, when it comes to someone like Bryce Harper, it's been about 10 games now, right? Pretty decent amount of time here since he's got going. But it goes unnoticed because we've been winning some baseball games, and I'm not going to sit here and try and say, he deserves to be crushed. But he's been in a little bit of a slump, and it's statistically proven with Bryce Harper. He starts out insanely hot. March, crazy. A little bit of April, crazy. And then he tails off a little bit, just statistically throughout his career. Well, we're starting to see it. So, Hey, listen, it is what it is. I'm really not going to cry about it, but I would like to see the minimum a split with the Colorado Rockies. You might say, Broads, that's crazy. How can you say that? Well, because I'm a realist and I know we're going on the road and it's tough to win in these away environments, right? And I know that the Rockies have their back against the wall. It's not crazy to think that. Of course, I want 3-1 at this point. Of course. Look what we just did with the Mets, too. You lose game one, and how do you respond? Well, we lose game one. How do we respond? But I'm totally accepting a split here with the Rockies. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. I want to know your thoughts down below.